How's it going, y'all? Today, we're going to be taking a look at GM Suburb House, Scawy. This is another Gary's Mod port by one of our favorite mod.io Bonelab modders, RickyPicky. And so that's to be said that this level, this map, is available for download for Boneworks on mod.io. When I saw that this was another RickyPicky map as I was scrolling through the mod.io library, I got very excited because I've come to be quite a fan of his. I want to make sure that I give my entire intro first because I recognize that there's going to be a lot going on here. With the fact that we know that this is a Gary's Mod port, I'm hoping that everything's going to work out just fine. That is a thick door, man. Dang. That's a thick door. I'm hoping that everything's going to work out just fine because, we've done a couple different Gary's Mod map ports at this point, and we've had issues because, well, there are certain mechanics that Gary's Mod has, the Steam Source engine can do, things that it can do that Marrow 1, the engine here for Bonelab, just can't do. So hopefully we won't have any issues, but I don't doubt that RickyPicky has ensured that there are some things in store for us. So without further ado, despite the feeling that I have that I've completely forgotten something very important to say, we're going to go ahead and jump in. And maybe it'll come back to me right when it's already too late. Now, as I was preparing for this video, and I was looking through the list, the post for this map, I noticed that RickyPicky didn't say much concerning it. And, yep, okay. RickyPicky is not... Man, you are taller. Oh, my goodness. I just slid down. You're much taller than... Oh, my goodness, you're way taller. There are steps. Whoa. Every once in a while, I feel like I can see them shake like they're breathing, or they're moving, or their limbs are twitching. This is RickyPicky's signature right here, and I may not be doing him justice by just approaching them and acting like everything is normal. That's a room as well right there, I think. You just stay right there. This looks... Is that... Can't see. No, okay, that's a door right there. Now, what's this? Is this the... Okay, this is an alley. So... Is there a railing here? Can I go down this way? Okay, there's a railing there. Oh, my goodness. And there are steps here. Yep. And so we'll stay in the house for now. But something important to note is on the mod.io post for this, this is listed as GM Suburb House. But when loading into it, it was listed as GM Suburbs. Which kind of tells me that it's... well, obviously we saw there is an outside that's accessible. We can go check out all the other houses. And, maybe there's something else there in store for us. What's interesting that I have to say is just how small this is. I mean, the scale of this. And it could be just because of the fact that it's getting imported from Gary's Mod. But, like, for example, these chairs should at least be this tall. I've played VR Gary's Mod before, and, well, this isn't the scale that I would typically assign a Gary's Mod map. I mean, even the countertops are a little bit short. The island is definitely way too short. All the appliances, too, but maybe that just means that at some point I'm going to have to grow up and start doing real Gary's Mod maps instead of just doing their ports on Bonelab. It's just so much easier because right now, I don't have a link cable, and I'm not really, not that I'm not comfortable with doing it, but my computer is not set up to be doing VR Gary's mod. It totally can. I do pretty heavy graphic renderings with it, so I'm sure it'll do it. But I just haven't prepared it yet. Before I left this area, I wanted to note that these kind of desks that are in some kitchens, especially like, oh my goodness, English, please. Especially like turn-of-the-century Y2K kitchens, and newly renovated 1990s, early 2000s kitchens, a lot of them have this desk here. And this is like a remnant of the past of when we used to actually respect the home computer, you know, when it was actually like an entire console. You know, it was on a desk that had bookshelves around it. You had your 2 speakers, your peripherals, and, you know, you got on the computer, and then you were on the internet. And when you got off the computer, you were off the internet. And that's kind of what this feels like, a little bit. It's like kind of just a little remnant of that past. So I like it. But we've been lollygagging enough. Before we go down, I'm noticing that ambience. I'm going to turn my headset up here. I want to hear it. Man, that is a really disturbing sound. Before we go down, I want to go up. Oh man, I hate that ambiance. What the? I don't know what's worse, when a map maker says that a map is scary, or when he doesn't tell you and you just go in on it. Oh. That's what it is. Well, hello. Yeah, that is, somewhat disturbing. Goodness. This is also a very unfortunate use of space to put your cabinet, whatever you want to call this. If I'm sure there's a word for this in English. Again, there's no monitor. I lived in German-speaking countries for 2 years. My brain still is kind of working in German. This would be called a Schrank. But it's really unfortunate that there's not really a better place for it unless you move the desk into the corner, but then again, you have the same issue. Yep, alright. We're going to go ahead and move on. Little closet there. Ooh. A sitting area. Oh, that's not to code. See, again, they don't have their monitors. Are these trackball mouses? Can I even interact with this? No. I do like a good trackball. My uncle still uses the trackballs, but not like the ones on the bottom. It's the ones with the roll wheel on the thumb. He loves those, still uses those. He's been using those for, 25 years now. Oh my goodness, I used to have a TV just like this. I mean, it was silver, and it had a VHS player in it, but I used to have one that was about this size, maybe even a little bit smaller. I had it in my nursery when I was growing up. I loved that thing. I watched... What is that sound? It's like something walking outside. I used to watch way too much Dora and Winnie the Pooh on that thing. I must say, this is a pretty interesting little addition here. Oh my goodness. Just to kind of have this opening to look down in the foyer. Nice. Oh, those are big units. Which is incredible that those units are that big, considering the very almost miniature size of the appliances downstairs. Dang, this is quite the bedroom. That is a big bed. That's like a California king, man. Although, I'll tell you this. I would never, ever, ever want a bedroom where you're on your bed and you can look out into a mirror in your bathroom. I'll never, ever have that. That's just horrible. I'll never do that. Big old walk-in closet. Love it when you see it. Oh, man. This is pretty impressive. Although, I think I'd hate this. You're at your mirror right here, doing your thing, and, you know, the Mrs. is, yeah, the Mrs. is, the mams, the wifey's doing her makeup over there, or maybe she's not, and it's just there. You're shaving, you're doing whatever, and you look in the mirror, and there's someone in the mirror looking back at you, but it's not in this mirror, it's in that mirror. That would be so horrible. I do have to voice an opinion, though, here. I love RickyPicky's maps and what he's been able to accomplish, but I have to admit, going ahead and spoiling the scare with us right there in the garage right off the bat, and I might be speaking too soon, but I almost feel like it kind of spoils it, because now I almost feel like, well, maybe there's nothing more here, because if there were to be too many scares, then we'd almost become sterile to it. We wouldn't want, it would be kind of moot with us. It wouldn't be scary. We'd get tired of it. Again, I might actually just be speaking too soon, because it's time to go down into the basement, which seems to be a finished basement, which is pretty cool. I would have loved to have one of these growing up. Oh, yeah, man. Oh. Oh, that doesn't look good. Selena Delgado Lopez. A Mysterious Case by Jose Luis Quintero Boisson. Dang, that's just eerie, man. See, a space like this... Oh, man. I mean, I've noted in the past, I didn't grow up in an area that had basements. We just couldn't have them. But, oh, I would have loved to have had one. What's that room? Is it like a sauna? I see a bench in there. That's what it looks like, yeah. Yeah, we just couldn't... our flood level was way too... Spider-Man! Do a flip! We just couldn't have basements. Our flood level's way too high. And so it just wasn't possible for us. But, man, I would have loved to have had a basement. Dang, this is cool. It's a big old one. I think that's one of the reasons that I love these explorations so much is, I feel like, oh, man, and that's a CRT. Oh, dang! That thing is big! That's ridiculous. Although I did have a TV about half that size once, and it blew your freaking mind, especially hooked up to surround sound. Oh, yeah. That's when I felt like I was rich, because we had gotten it when I was like 13. But, yeah, I've always loved... Which one's the window? Okay, you can go through both. That's why I've always loved basements, because they were something so mystical to me. Like, I grew up on beaches. What is that? Oh, it's that freaking... Is it that freaking texture? That weird, Yeah, that's like that, developer's texture that we keep seeing on different maps, I think. Sorry. I always get lost on my own little tangents. It's a pretty big backyard. I didn't grow up around mountains. I didn't grow up with around people with basements. Things like that were very foreign to me. And so, to meet people that had them was crazy. And to go to places where those existed... Can I get through here? Which one is it? Nope, I have to go down. Whenever I was able to experience those, it was crazy. Like when I was living in Austria, people there have cellars, and they still actively use their cellars. That was the other one. Wait, what? When did this close? What in the world? That's insane. Alright, well, hands are tied. Our path is being laid before us. But going to a place where people had cellars and there were mountains, it was insane because it was almost like my entire world was being flipped and changed. And see, there's that dang texture over there as well. And there. But it was pretty incredible to be able to experience something that I never had before. So this is that side entrance. And now this, I'm sure... Oh, is it a lighting glitch? It sure is. This, I'm sure, is just light coming from there, and you can't go in here. No. Oh, my dang phone. I'll learn to shut that off when I do these videos. Well, let's run around here a little bit and just try and kind of get an idea of what is good in the hood. This is a dang cul-de-sac if I ever seen one. This almost feels like an English cul-de-sac, though, because American cul-de-sacs don't look like this, and we don't have houses like this. I mean, these could easily be, you know, duplexes and whatnot. Oh, there's stuff over there as well. How far back does this go? Interesting property. Gotta give it that. Yeah, so those are all developers' textures, I guess. But it's so strange because I don't really know how those work. Can I get through here? Oh, I totally can. We can go tickle the developers' textures. We can actually touch them this time. Maybe it'll like glitch me out of existence if I do. Nope, alright. Yeah, I'm totally just breaking the freaking meta here now. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, it's a smaller map, and there was definitely a little bit of, there's a bit of a horror factor in there. I mean, definitely with those TVs. And you know what those TVs really made me realize is how much I appreciate, let me through. Those show me just how much I appreciate story in horror. I love it when map designers, and obviously I know this is a Gary's Mod port of a pre-existing map, but I love it when map makers put thought and effort into the stories that their environments that they create are trying to convey. You know, I think it's really a great opportunity to stretch your your literary legs a little bit, so to say. You know, it gives you the opportunity to kind of tell a story, and I feel in that way it really gets the audience more involved in what you're doing. I mean, he'll agree with me. I know you agree with me. I really feel like when you can tell a story, it creates a sense of humanity, and it creates a sense of commonplace, or maybe that's not even the right word. I'm looking for a word here. It conveys a sense of familiarity with your creation, whether it's a map or it's an image. You know, if you're just doing, you know, environmental storytelling, I really feel like you can tell a story quite powerfully. You know, if this ended up having something to do with what's on the TV downstairs, and saying what's on the TV downstairs has something to do with this neighborhood, and say this neighborhood has something to do with a bigger plot that we see, for example, in a texture on a newspaper or on a book, or, you know, something like that. Like, that environmental storytelling, I think, is so powerful. And when you're not, you know, it's the principle of, and I'm learning this right now with a film project I'm working on, to not show the monster. And I think, you know, that's really kind of what I love about these maps so much, is they don't show as much as they tell. And normally you hear people say, you know, in writing stories, show, don't tell. But with these, I almost feel like you have to show. You know, if it's an interactive environment, don't just tell people what's going on. Show them, and then they'll connect the dots themselves. And if they don't, then there's a creep factor, and that's what you're after. And sometimes if you do your job right, you can do both at the same time. Like this, to me, feels like a home invasion. Lights are on, doors are open, the neighborhood is empty. Maybe this is the purge. Maybe there was a plague or an event, a cataclysmic event that caused a mass evacuation, or maybe everyone just disappeared. You know, where is everyone? Where are everyone's vehicles? Why is it so gloomy out? What's going on? Why is the fog so dense? Then again, we could just be in England, but you get what I'm saying. This map maker's created an environment, and we're left to figure out what's gone on. We're looking at plants that have been knocked over. Why is it knocked over? Was there a rush? You know, were they in a rush to get out of here? Typically, those are the kind of things that we notice that tell that kind of story. Why is there a chair in the corner? Half the lights are on. Why are they on? Or half the lights are off. Why are they off? What is this? I think you could almost say that this map asks more questions than it answers, which I think I like. I think there's an element of that I actually really enjoy. And so with that being said, there's not a lot to this map, but if you know that there's something here that I've missed, go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I'll take a look for it myself. If you'd like to play this map, I'll put a link for it in the description, and if I can find the original Garry's Mod workshop file map, I'll go ahead and put a link for that in the description. If you'd like to support me, I always appreciate a like and a subscribe. I'll also have a link to my link tree in the description below where you can check out my socials, and you can support me there. If you have suggestions for future videos, I'll let you comment down below. You can tell me what you think of this video and what you'd like to see for future videos, and I'll give those things a look. As always, I'm always thankful for the interaction that y'all have with my videos when you like them and you watch them. That's a really big thing for me, is that shows me that even if you aren't liking something, because I know I'm guilty of this, even if you aren't liking something, that still means that you watched the video. I'm very bad about ensuring that I like videos that I actually enjoyed, and I know I need to do better about that. So for those of you that are liking these videos, I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to see more content, please like this video. Even if you didn't like this video, just like it, and that lets me know that there are people that actually care about what I'm doing here, and they want to see more from me. They may just not have enjoyed that specific video. And so, until that next video, y'all take care.